Hey, bricks and mortar retailers, welcome to this week's video. It's been a while since I've done a video, and it's all about how to thrive in your store during this economic uncertainty. So this all came about because I was in the States a couple of weeks ago and speaking with clients over in the States. I was specifically in Orlando, and the whole discussion amongst business owners and the other investors that I was hanging out with was the economic uncertainty that is hitting the business landscape and the landscape that many of us are sort of trying to grow our businesses in all around the world. So, these are challenges that happen all the time if you're in business. And so what I'm going to talk to you about is how you can not only survive them, these economic, excuse me, uncertain times, but also how you can thrive in them. So this is never going to change, right? Inflation, rising costs, unpredictable sales, and all of these things are part of the landscape that one needs to navigate when they are in business, right? And so I'm going to walk you through some proven strategies that can help your retail store succeed. But before we do that, I want to just get an understanding in the comment section below. Has this economic uncertain times, has it affected your store? Just give me a yes or a no in the comment section. Let me know what's happening around the world. And in fact, speaking of the world, where are you watching from? If you could just pop that in the comment section below. Like I mentioned, I was hanging out with a few clients in the States a couple of weeks ago in Orlando, as well as attending a networking event for my business buying activities. So, right. So basically, just as an overview, there are three main strategies that I'm going to be talking you through. These are so important, not all the time, but also particularly during times of economic uncertainty. And the first one is to make sure that you master your cash flow management, right? Cash flow is the lifeblood of every and any retail store. But when times are uncertain, many of you bricks and mortar retail store owners struggle to manage it effectively. So I was talking to Sarah a couple of weeks ago, who's a boutique owner, who, when we were chatting, she was so focused on sales that she lost sight of her cash position, and basically, it caught her off guard when it came to tax time, right? And she didn't have the funds to basically pay her tax bill. So this is what commonly happens when we are approaching economic uncertainty and we're going through these times. We double down on sales, which is great, but as retail store owners, we also need to factor all the other things that goes into running into our store. So during these economic times, when expenses pile up and revenue is unpredictable, it's so easy to get overwhelmed, right? Because you're frantically trying to figure out where your money is coming from and where it's going. So that's what you need to do. And so when your expenses pile up and your revenue is unpredictable, you're going to try and work on your sales. Many people do, but you find yourself short on cash at critical times, right? So the three things that you need to do, well, not three, but there's a few quick solutions, and I've spoken about these considerably at length. But the first thing is you need to track your cash flow weekly. You need to set up a simple system to review your cash flow, and so you know exactly where your money is going, where it's coming from, and where it's going. So this part here about tracking cash flow, just let me know in the comments. Do you track cash flow? I'd love to know. So I think that one of the big mistakes, apart from not tracking cash flow, is many of us retailers, we don't, if we are tracking cash flow, we overcomplicate the system, or we rely on our bookkeepers / accountants to do this for us. I think this is a really big mistake. You, as the retail store owner, initially you need to start tracking it. You need to be all across it. And I would argue it's one of the main KPIs as a retail store owner that you need to have for yourself as part of your dashboard that you will be setting up. And it's so important that you know this, because cash is the lifeblood of any business, right? And this trip up that, like I was talking with Sarah last week, a couple of weeks ago, I beg your pardon, it doesn't just happen to retailers, it happens to every business. Even large businesses, they slip up on their cash flow. and they really don't know how much cash they've got coming in or going out. So, okay, that's the first thing. You need to track your cash flow. The next thing, the logical thing after that is to forecast your future cash needs, right? So, this doesn't need to be complicated. If you start tracking it, there is an easy way for you to forecast your cash flow. Now, many companies, they go into this, large companies, I'm sorry, corporations actually go into this in quite some detail, and they have specialists, within the finance team that can forecast the cash flow. But for you, the retail store owner, you just need to keep it really, really simple. Excuse me. And if you've been tracking your cash flow, once you get to the 12-week mark, you can then start to forecast it pretty accurately, right? And you can then start to understand what may happen in the future, how the flow of cash actually ebbs through your store and through your bank account. So that's the second thing. You need to make sure that you forecast your future cash needs, forecast your cash flow. And the other thing that you need to do during these economic uncertainties is to start to build a cash cushion. I've spoken about how to manage your money, but one of the components of that is to actually start to build a buffer, like a reserve fund, and to start to put aside money for your OPEX, your operating expenses, right? So you're not scrambling during slow periods. Now, building up a cash cushion in a separate bucket, if you will, it's a little bit of an art, right? So you need to figure out how much you can start putting away, because you certainly can't put away 50% of everything that comes through your store into this cash cushion. But you need to make sure that you have some sort of system and methodology that you're transferring money out that doesn't hurt the overall cash flow on your business. So yeah, those are three really quick tips when it comes to your cash flow management plan. And these just the weekly habit alone of tracking cash flow can help you identify the gaps before they even become a crisis. When I was first taught this by my business coach, it was such a game changer for me. And not only from the fact that I just, was it Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets managed. Not only was it that, but also the fact that it was like peeling away the onion layers of my business. I was really starting to get a deeper understanding. So it's so surprising that many of you retailers don't do this. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is while we are going through this economic uncertainty, now is the time to start implementing those pricing strategies. So, as you know, inflation is driving up costs for inventory, rent, your wages, but many retailers are hesitant to raise prices because they fear of losing loyal customers, right? Sarah, who I was talking to a couple of weeks ago, was in the exact position. She knew she needed to raise prices, but her fear of customer backlash kept her from taking action. Now, this is really interesting, right? Because we think that we are the small independent retailer in the hub of our community, that we can't raise prices, but the supermarkets and all the bigger retailers around us, they can raise their prices. So why shouldn't we? And why this happens is, I know because I was there once, but we feel stuck between rising costs and customer expectations. It's a natural thing, and we're afraid that the price hikes will push customers away. But failing to look at your margin, failing to adjust your pricing will erode your profit margins, right? So this is just a natural part of inflation. I'm sure your cost price has gone up, your wholesale prices have gone up, so you need to do the same. So let me know in the comments. Are you scared of raising prices in your store? Just give me a yes or a no. Yeah, I know this is a common thing that happens. So here's a few quick tips on how I want you to think about how you might implement some smart pricing strategies within your store, right? So there are so many ways that you can do this. Whoops. But one of the ways that I would recommend is look at, the 80-20 rule. You need to look at the top 20% of your best-selling items, right, that are producing 80% of your results. So hopefully you can do that analysis, and then look at these items and then figure out if they're known value items. So get rid of those, the KVIs, because people will know that it's a commodity product, that what the prices are, right? Unless you know the products and you can check outside at your major competitors and increase that. But there are going to be other products in there where you can increase your margins by 5 to 10%. So at a small price, these high demand products that you're already selling, because we've done the 80/20 analysis, these price increases are less likely to drive your customers away. And of course, people know that prices are going up. They kind of already expect it because all the other big players have already done it. So there's nothing to be worried about. You do, however, as part two of this caveat, you need to make sure that you're monitoring your customers' reactions, right? Track and measure customer feedback, track and measure your sales to see how the price changes are affecting the purchasing behaviors within your store. And, in most cases, like, your customers won't notice a price increase, right? No, they won't notice the price adjustments. So, and stemming from that, it's a really good idea. If you're part of my coaching program, or if you have seen the other videos I've done, that you need to reevaluate your prices every 3 months. Make sure that you're continuing to adjust your pricing, increasing your margin where possible, just to keep up with rising costs, right? And just like the bigger players in the marketplace, all and most successful retailers adjust their prices regularly to stay ahead of inflation and this economic uncertainty, while maintaining customer loyalty, right? So you need to make sure that you're doing the same. And there is no reason why you, as an independent retailer turning over 1 to 10 mil, there is no reason why you can't do that. So the third strategy that I want to implore you to consider during these economic uncertain times is to start developing using KPIs for data-driven decisions within your store. It's something I see all the time, right? We as store owners rely on our gut feelings to make decisions, and but in uncertain economic times like this, you actually need hard data to guide your actions. And I get it; it's challenging. Not very many of us understand data. We don't know what to do with it. It can be overwhelming for some of us. Hopefully you definitely have a point of sale system where you can pull this data and your data integrity is spot on and correct. I mean, that's a discussion for another time, but relying on your intuition on which products to reorder, and relying on your intuition to see what your top selling categories are, it just makes it really, really puts it to guesswork, right? So you need to start to ensure that you pick some really important key performance indicators / KPIs, so that you know what's happening under the hood within your store. Without tracking KPIs, you're essentially flying blind, right? You're missing out on profitable opportunities, such as getting rid of that excess stock, the dead stock, and all these things can be hurting and will hurt your cash flow and during these economic times. So focus on tracking metrics. Some of my favorites are average dollar sale, your gross margins, and inventory turnover, profit margins, depending on the store you are, loyalty signups. Pick some really, really good KPIs and use the tools around you to start tracking them. You can use your point of sale system. Some point of sale systems have excellent KPI tracking. You can use a simple spreadsheet, or if you're a client of mine, we use a very, very simple A4 piece of paper we put in the back office, right? And keep it old school, but you track it on your spreadsheet. And every 90 days, you need to set and adjust, right? You need to set realistic targets for improvement, and you need to have quantifiable gains or quantifiable metrics for your KPIs, right? So it's, you want to be really tangible, create SMART goals, right? So you want to do things like, this quarter, we are going to increase our average dollar sale by 2% or 3%, but something quantifiable like that. We are going to sign up in 150 people to our loyalty program this quarter. So you need to make sure that you start to set these targets and they're quantifiable. And, these data-driven decisions help you spot trends early on and reduce waste, focus your energy to what's working within your store. And so you can start to pull the levers and drive your business forward, even through these economic uncertain times. So there you go. They're my 3 strategies that I recommend that you start to implement within your store. So just to recap, to thrive during these economic uncertainty, you need to master your cash flow, implement smart pricing strategies, and use data to drive use data to drive your decisions through effective KPIs. So I know times are tough, right? But with the right strategies, you can turn these challenges into opportunities and grow your retail store, even in a tough economy. So just remember, if you want more help with this stuff, please send me a message on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have any specific questions on how to implement these strategies in your store, drop a comment below or reach out to me directly. I'd love to be able to help and share some wisdom with you. So until next time, retailers, we'll catch you later and bye.